single mom, homeless with no family support, and I
Yeah.
just lost my job.
Yeah.
I had literally nothing. And you know what? I just took it one day at a time. Even if you feel like defeated and you feel like you can't win it, you can't stop. You don't stop until it's
Yeah.
over. You just keep going. And I wanted to give them a place where they can feel good about themselves. They don't have to worry about their next bill coming in, their next mortgage coming in,
Yeah.
where they're being treated with respect.
I'm really excited to chat about, kind of what we've been up to because we met maybe a year or so ago ish. And at that time, I was reaching out to you because I had my own weight loss, I'm going to call it journey. And so I was seeking help. I remember getting on this crazy bed and putting on this red light situation. And I was thinking, this like magical, maybe a little witchcraft red light situation. Like, I love it. I actually went and bought a red light mask after that, and I love it. So, take me back to how you got to the magical red light situation, how you got to even owning businesses. Let's go way back. I know you have such an incredible story and are so open about it, and that's so inspiring. So, take me back to as far, well, what you would consider your beginning of this.
Yes, and that goes really, really far back. My story goes so far back. I was kind of struggling in life back in 2008, 2009, didn't know what to do with my life. Started a small business in Germany. That's where I'm from. And was just selling products for like Coca-Cola, HP. I worked for all kinds of different
Sure.
clients, and I just felt like I needed something. And I was single and just struggling with that, in my early 20s, so in my mid 20s. And I just like, I don't know, will I ever get married? What's that
Right.
story with that? And out of nowhere, back in 2008, I received a message on MySpace from an American soldier who was deployed to Iraq. And he said, I'm going on a 2-week break to Germany from war. I'm just looking for people to show me around. And would you be interested in hanging out a couple days? Of course, he was flirting with me.
Love
But
it.
I was
Love that
single.
it's on
Yeah,
MySpace.
yes, I'm that old. Yes, it was on
I
MySpace.
love MySpace.
So a couple of weeks, well, I think we talked about 3 months before that break actually happened, and he flew in from Iraq with his buddy who was a Marine. He was in the army, eventually gone into the army into his last deployment. So the both of them came here, and we hung out for 2 weeks. All of a sudden, about 3 days later, he said, I think I love you, and I want to take you to America. And I was like, that's quite fast. I
That's a
don't.
different kind of proposal.
Um, let's see where this goes because you got to
Yeah.
go back to Iraq for 6 months. But
Yeah.
I like it too. So we started
Maybe.
dating. We had 2 weeks together, and he went back to Iraq for 6 months.
Love it.
Uh, After he came home, I came to America for my first time, visited him. We spent, I
Yeah.
think, 3 weeks. He showed me all over Kentucky. We did all kinds of fun stuff, music festivals and the caves, and
Yeah.
all of the things that you do in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And then a couple months later, he came to Germany, visited me he stayed for 3 months and then flew back to America. So we did the back and forth. And
Hmm.
April of 2010, I came here for a visit because he was supposed to go on this 18 months long hike across America to raise funds for veterans. And
Okay.
I was like,
Superhero.
right? But I was like, well, that's going to be a strain on the relationship because if you're out
Yeah.
there and you're on the news, there'll be all kinds of girls who, want you and stuff like that. And I'll be in
Yeah.
Germany. So if you find somebody else on the way, yeah, it's just what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I was supposed to go back home 3 days after the hike started, and a volcano in Iceland exploded. And all of a sudden, there were no more flights to Germany because you couldn't fly safely because there was so much ash in the
Oh
air and it
gosh.
would clog up the engines
Yeah.
of the planes. And
Uh-huh.
I called my airlines, like, okay, what are we going to do about this? And they were like, well, we have a lot of people stuck, but we can probably get you home in about 6 weeks. I was like, 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Mind you, I had my own business, so I had to call all my clients. Hey, I'm
Yeah.
stuck here. I can come back home, but I'll be back. I'll let you know. And then I started walking with him because what else was I supposed to be doing?
Yeah. Might as
And
well.
well, we did a loop through Kentucky. That was the first 2 weeks just to see how it goes and just getting
Yep.
used to it. And while we were in front of the castle on Keeneland over there in Lexington, out of
It's
nowhere, he
pretty.
said, well, if I marry you, can you stay here? And I said, I don't know. Let me find out. And, sometimes, I don't know if you're religious or not, it doesn't matter. I am. But for me, it was like God giving me some advice that day
Right. There's your
that,
sign a little bit.
because I met a girl that afternoon and I didn't know in the beginning, but I later found out she was German. And I said, oh, interesting. I said, tell me more about the immigration process. Like he just proposed to me today and I don't know, do I have to go back home and file paperwork or, how does it
Mhm.
all work? And she
Yeah.
said, did you come here on a tourist visa? I said, yes, of course. She's like, well, here's a thing for you. If you come here on a tourist visa and you don't plan on getting married and you get married spontaneously, you don't have to leave. You can actually
Mhm.
stay here, file paperwork, adjust your status, and become a permanent resident. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
really? She's
huh.
like, well, I knew about this because that's how I did it, 10 years ago. I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I'm an attorney. I'm going to cut this short a little bit, but I ended up doing that and I never went back home.
Yeah.
So we walked across America. I raised $1.3 million. We were all over national news, Fox News. We met Jay Leno and Diane Sawyer,
Cool.
kinds of people that I didn't know back then, but it was apparently a big deal. Yeah, after the hike, we decided our cause was veteran suicide. It actually, the numbers had gone up. We
Mhm.
decided it was done. And so we
Mhm.
started our nonprofit here in Kentucky called Active Heroes. Ended up raising, I don't know, another 7, 8, 9 million over the years. We built a retreat center and all of that.
I love that.
Unfortunately, my husband struggled with a lot of things himself. And
Mhm.
after 9 years, my marriage fell apart. I tried, I hate to even say the word save him, but you can't save anyone if they don't want to be
Sure.
saved. I don't know if he was bipolar, but he just started getting pretty violent with me towards the end and death
Mhm.
threats. And, we had a child in 2017.
Yeah.
People always think that maybe a child will fix things, but I don't know if it made
Yeah.
it worse, but it definitely wasn't helpful having a screaming baby in the house.
Well,
And
sure. Stress is at an all-time high and
yeah,
yeah.
and 2019, things just went really bad. And he once again said, if you go to church this morning, if you can come home, either both of us are going to die or I'll be dead when you get back here. And
What kind of choice is that?
right. And I said, look, I need to go to church. That's, what I do on the weekends. And I'm going to go anyways. I called 911. I had to do a welfare check on him. And the sheriff called me back a couple hours later and he said, we can't help you until he actually puts his hands on you. But to be honest with you, you should not go home today if you can.
Mm. That's such
Uh,
crap. The whole
long
system
story
with
short,
it. Yeah.
my family's in Germany. Where am I going, right?
Yeah.
Managed to find a couple of nights to stay at friends' homes and filed for divorce because it just wasn't safe for me or my child to
Sure.
be in a situation like this. And well, then we were still working at the nonprofit together, and obviously that wasn't a
Mm.
great
That's tough.
situation to keep working together.
Yeah.
I signed up for massage school because we try to help veterans with massage. We offered actually free massages for veterans for a while at that point,
Mhm.
but had lost our grant through Young Brains Foundation because they
Uh,
had a really bad year, and they were like, "Look, we can't give you the money for next year," which was like $40,000. And so I was like, "Well, I'm already on payroll and I can do the work. I can just do the work without us having to,
sure.
pay to do so."
Mhm.
Had been the goal why I signed up for massage therapy. Well, now things went down and all of a sudden pretty much homeless with no job. Um,
Yeah.
and I was about 4 months from graduating. And so they paid me until about 2 months before I got my license. And so I went on unemployment for 2 months. And all of a
Mhm.
sudden it was like, okay, I guess that's my new career. I'm a massage therapist.
Yeah. This is me now.
Okay, I didn't plan on doing this full time, but here we go.
Yeah.
And so had a job for a little while until COVID happened. Of course, we
Mhm.
all were laid off. And after we came back, we were so busy. I was seeing 30 some clients a week. Everyone was hurting because no one had gotten their self-care in for 3 months or whatever, how long the
Right.
time frame was.
Yeah.
Yeah. One day I sat down and, I've always had this entrepreneurial spirit. I did my own marketing even for that business. And I was like, if I already do all the work, I may as well take all the money.
Well, yeah.
And decided to see if I could find a place somewhere to start massage.
Mhm.
And found Dee from 502 Hemp, who a lot of
Mhm.
people in this area know. And she said, I have this room and we used to do massage therapy and they would love to bring it back. Do you want to rent it? And I said, I can afford it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she gave me a great deal. I don't want to get into the details, but I ended up starting working there part time and still working part time at the job. And about
Right.
6 months later, I had gotten so busy, I decided just to dive right in and be self-employed. Now that was a scary step as a single
Yes.
mom, with a new mortgage and all of those things. I was like, well,
Mhm.
if I can't get clients, I have no money. Uh,
Right. It's all on
and-
you.
right? Lo and behold, that first month I made the most money I ever made
Mm.
because a lot of people, even though wasn't actively recruiting, a lot of people came with me. They just, with the massage, it's like hairstylist. You find your person. You kind of usually stick with
Yep.
them.
Yep.
Yeah, all of a sudden I had this business, and I was like, well, I guess I'm doing this again. But in 22, we started hiring some people because I was working 6, 7 days a week, and I saw my
Mhm.
cap of income. And again, as a single mom, and with a family in Germany that I haven't seen since 2019, I felt like
Yeah.
I'm at the cap. I can't work
Yeah.
anymore, but I'm still not making enough to actually make it or
Right.
act more comfortable. And found two amazing massage therapists who are still with me. But it's been going really well until last September when I started losing feelings in my left leg.
Mm.
And I thought I had back issues because my back was very sore all the time.
Yeah.
Finally went to the doctor and they were like, well, it's fortunately not your back, but you have a labrum tear in your hip, and
Oh,
really the only way to fix that is to surgery.
mm,
And I said, okay. They were like, the only thing is with your job, recovery time is about 12 to 18 months. And I'm like,
okay.
oh. And they were like, you can't do lunges and squats, which as a massage therapist, that's pretty much what you do.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so just again, I'm saying my prayers. I said, God, thank you for building a team
Yep.
because I was at this point in so much pain I could barely be comfortable, even just sleeping. I was strolling around like a rotisserie chicken at night and
Yeah.
not really staying up straight anymore. And more would lose feeling in my leg. And I was like,
Mhm.
it just has to be done.
Yeah.
So just last month I had that surgery done and still on
Mm.
the couch, still recovering,
Yeah.
walking again, which is great. But this is where life throws you these curveballs as a business owner, where you just have to adjust off what's happening in your
Right.
life. I always tell people, listen to your gut. Like when I first started hiring people, wasn't necessarily wanting to do that. Having employees, it's more responsibility. Now I feel responsible
It's
for
tough.
making sure they have enough money to pay
Yeah.
their bill. I always call it jokingly, and my employees know that I always call them my children because I care for them as much as I would for my own
Yep.
child. They're,
Yeah.
especially if they're good and they're working hard for me, I want to make
Mhm.
sure they're okay. So
I
I
love
was a
that.
little bit struggling in the beginning with the idea of having a staff again, because with the nonprofit, we had up to 16 employees at one point, and that was
Yeah.
very stressful just having that
Yeah.
team.
All that goes into having a team. It's not, well, if I didn't make enough this week, like I'll figure it out. But it's like other people depending on you, their livelihood, and looking to you for answers. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So,
Um, and then, yeah, also what we started doing about a year and a half ago, you mentioned the red light therapy. As a massage therapist, I had looked into red light therapy for a long time. I
mhm.
had, I wanted to have it as an add-on or something like that. And
Yeah.
I decided because of there's such scientific evidence where it can help with pain and recovery,
Yeah.
healing, and all of those things.
Love that.
And I found this great looking machine on Facebook and just called them up and they gave me the price point for the machine and I swallowed a little bit more because it was more expensive than the car that I'm driving right now. And
Ooh.
I said, well, I don't have that much money right now, but they were like, well, we have financing options if you wanted to look at that. And I went through a little bit of training session with the person who sold it, who was a
Mhm.
chiropractor. The more I learned, the more excited I got. I didn't know about
Mhm.
the fat loss, weight loss part
Okay.
time. And he explained it to me how the light puts little holes in your fat cells and drains out the fat, and that's how your body contour, and it
Yeah.
increases metabolism and fixes, other issues potentially with the thyroid and stuff like that. And
Right.
over my journey, I had, coming here to America, the typical what happens to most Europeans. I put on 100 pounds and it took me a long time, about 4 years, to lose that again after my divorce.
Yeah.
And so I had my story with weight loss, and it was like the most important part for me. Like,
Yeah.
wow, I can help other people get to that same place of feeling good about themselves.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's a scary expense, but I'm gonna do it anyways.
Yeah.
And we've been doing it ever since. We've seen some amazing results. One guy lost over 42 pounds.
It's working.
Yes, it
Yeah.
works as long as people are willing to commit to the process, and
Mhm.
it takes a little bit of money and it takes consistency. Like,
Yep.
you come only once a month, we're not probably going to see the results because we
Right.
want to consistently over a period of time. Most people sign on for about a 2 months process with us and then reevaluate. We also have little trial sessions where people can buy 4 or 5 sessions
Oh,
just to
okay.
see it out. Now, this is new. We
Yeah.
didn't have that last year. We tried to
Yeah.
slim it down a little bit for people who wanted to try it out a couple of
Sure.
more times.
Get their feet wet with it.
Right.
Yeah.
but it's so exciting to see people have more energy, they feel better all of a sudden, they can play with their children or grandchildren again,
Yeah.
you know, pain is less, and I just love helping people. And so as a business owner, it's business, even living life is like running a business, right?
Yeah.
You have problems and you try to fix them. And that's really what we do at the Zen Zone with massage therapy. Casey now does manual lymphatic drainage, which we sometimes combine now with red light therapy for people
Oh,
who have lipedema,
okay.
which is accumulation of fat mainly in the thighs and legs.
Yeah.
So my whole life I thought I had very bad cellulite, and just
Okay.
because I partake in this class in MLD, I actually found out I have lipedema. So that's why I have very bumpy legs, and it's
Okay.
always bothered me to the point I wouldn't wear shorts or skirt.
Yeah.
Like,
Self-conscious.
mm.
Mm-hmm.
And so between her and the red light therapy, I've actually seen great results. And we
Oh, so
just
great.
that after my surgery, yeah, I still have a lot of
Yeah.
accumulation and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
I just love helping people with that kind of thing because we are in this world, there's a million and one products out there, and there's a million and one solutions, but not
For
everyone,
sure.
I don't know how many thousands of dollars for surgeries and stuff.
Yeah, there's so much going on, and I wanna take it back. That one thing I've noticed with what you were when you were saying your story and, all the different kind of pivoting that you had to do, it seems like you always pivoted back to being a business owner. And I don't remember if it was before we got on this recording, but we were both saying like how tough that can be and, the responsibility and all that stuff. Hey there, my little biz besties. It's Ashley Chamberlain, host of In Good Company and CEO of Chamberlain and Good Company, the virtual accounting firm that actually speaks human. If you're a business owner and you've ever found yourself staring at QuickBooks like it's a literal foreign language, wondering if your miscellaneous category is secretly plotting against you, this is for you. We just launched something new, a private Facebook group called Mind Your Business and Your Books. It's for business owners who want real answers, real support, maybe a little less panic when it comes to your books. We're talking QuickBooks help, tax tips, mindset shifts, because yes, money is mental, and a community that actually gets it. How rare, right? It's $30 for your first month because we believe in starting strong without breaking the bank. That's not what we're trying to do here. After that, the price goes up. We'll go live twice a month. We'll answer your questions that are submitted by you ahead of time. Search Mind Your Business and Your Books on Facebook, or just check the link in the show notes. Join us. Your spreadsheets and your sanity will thank you. Why do you think that you were constantly feeling called or pulled back to owning your own business? Like, what are you doing? Are you caffeinated or delirious, or what calls you back?
Maybe a little bit crazy, definitely.
Yeah, that's
That,
okay. I got that.
if you come here with one bag of clothes and decide to stay here for the rest of your life, that definitely takes a little bit of
Yeah.
craziness up in the head.
Yeah.
But my main thing was I see so many people who have these businesses, and all they care about is the money.
Right.
Uh, and I just wanted to give people a place where I mean, yes, as a business owner, of course you want to make money, right? But I
But
wanted to give
it's
them a
how you
place
survive.
where,
Yeah.
right? I wanted to give them a place where they can feel good about themselves. They don't have to worry about their next bill coming in, their next mortgage coming in,
Yeah.
where they're being treated with respect, where I'm not saying other business owners don't do that, but there's a bunch of them out there who just see the dollar
Well,
sign and that's all they really care
yeah, the good and the bad, right? And you were trying to
about.
create a space for
Right.
the good and bring that back into ownership is what it
Yep.
sounds like.
Yeah, especially as a massage therapist, and I actually do have a good relationship with my former boss. She did good, like no offense there. She did
Yeah.
what she had, but I was underpaid, and I
Yeah.
just single mom couldn't pay my bills, and so for me it was
Yeah.
like I'm willing to take less money on my own, but give them more. So the massage therapy is an extremely hard physical job, and realistically, you cannot see 30,
Yeah.
40 clients a week, which I have for a while and it burned me out, right?
Right.
I have
Right.
arthritis in my thumbs now because I worked too hard for too
Yeah.
long.
It's hard on your body.
I wanted to pay them more so have to work less hours and still can take care of
Mhm.
themselves. And it was
Mhm.
just something that I wanted to do I don't know, again, it goes back to helping other people
Yep.
and providing them with a space. And if I can only control it if the person in charge.
Yeah. I love that. It's hard too because, another kind of commonality that is in your story is like things happen that were completely out of your control. You obviously didn't plan for the things that were happening and you pivoted. And so many times I think you and I see business owners, friends that go through something and they just want to give up. And you have friends that look to you in a coaching, kind of aspect, or you're even just as a friend, I want to vent and they want to just burn it all to the ground. And when they come to you and say that, what are some of the things that maybe you either talk them out of it or, advice? Cause that's so common where people, something happens and they get in a car accident or their computer, it's the basement flooding. That's been a common one lately and everything gets messed up and they think I can't do this anymore. I got to do something else.
Right. I am all about sharing my story. And that's why I'm doing more of the podcasts and stuff like that to tell people, look, if I can do it, I was literally in a situation that was impossible to get out of.
Yeah.
I was a single mom, homeless with no family support, and I
Right.
just lost my job.
Yeah.
I had literally nothing. And you know what? I just took it one day at a time. If
Okay.
you want to do your business, don't give up on it. You may have to get a side
Right.
job for a little while, right? Maybe and that's the situation I'm in right now. I'm starting a new job on the side for myself because
Yep.
I am haven't
This
started
is where you are.
and don't want to hurt my business by taking too much money out of it. So I
Mm,
decided to take another job. And that's sometimes what you have to do as a business owner. My
yeah.
business is not going to go anywhere. And hopefully in the long run, eventually it'll bring in enough where, I can go back full time just
Okay.
being a business owner. But for now, so you have just to adjust the situation you're in. And you
Yeah.
just, for me, it takes a lot of faith sometimes. I'm not saying I don't have down moments where you're doubting or whatever.
Yeah.
We say listen to your gut. If you're religious, if you believe in God, pray, or if, whatever you believe in, if you have
Right.
that kind of hold, that's what's really been helping me, just to be like, you know
Mm.
what, God, I can't fix this right now, but I'll try again tomorrow, and then
Yeah.
some door will open up the next
Right.
day.
So staying the course, really
Mhm.
staying the course and believing enough in yourself and whatever kind of outside higher power that you find peace in, turning to that as well. But it didn't sound like you said create this whole village of people. However, I know that you had a village because I just know a little bit about your background. So tell me how I don't know if it's strategically or accidentally created this group of cheerleaders for you because if something happens, I see people rallying behind you. How can I help you? What do you need me to promote? How can I get behind what you're doing? How did you find that in someone that was literally starting from, I'm moving to a new country and I don't have anybody here? Like, how does that happen?
I feel like me sharing my story, I don't share from a place of, oh, poor me, right? I share it from, look at me. Yeah, this happened to me, but I'm still here. I'm still moving forward. I have been very open, and that was a challenge for me, but
Yeah.
I learned that it's okay to ask for help. And there's a lot of people out there who want to help you, and
Yeah.
then let them. The let them
Mhm.
part has been the hardest one. But then I also try to pay it forward. Like if somebody comes and helps me out, like Didi, for example, I
Yeah.
have used her help to me and I've tried to pay it forward to other people.
Okay.
Um, and so, it creates the cycle of goodness
Yep.
that and the more you give, the more you get. That's just how I experienced
Sure.
that.
Okay. So
Um,
consistently giving when
yeah,
you can
back.
and however you can. It looks different for everybody.
Right.
Finding those people who want to help and letting them, which is so hard. It
Yeah.
is so hard, right? You're supposed to be able to do it all yourself. And if people offer to help, there's probably like strings attached and you don't want to owe anyone anything. So you'll just do it yourself. But what you're saying is like you can't do it yourself. Find those people that want to help and let them. I
Mhm.
think that's such a powerful statement, like let them help, especially when you don't have a lot of cheerleaders that you call maybe your best friends or your family. If that's just not someone for you, you reached out and let people help you. That's so special.
Somebody told me once, because I did struggle with that a lot. I
Mm.
am a very independent person, and like you said, I
Yep.
don't want to owe anyone anything. And this person offered to cook me a meal after my surgery, and it's like, oh, it's so sweet. You don't have to do that, right? I appreciate that. I have help, I have a,
Yeah.
and she's just like, you know what? What I learned and she's a Christian herself, but she said,
Mm,
you know, the Bible, and she likes to refer to the Bible because she knows I believe in
mm,
that. She said,
love
there's
that.
a paragraph in the Bible where it says that if you deny somebody to give you a blessing or
Mm,
help you, you actually take away their blessing because they're not able
mm.
to do so. And I was like,
Oh, she went
oh,
there.
okay, all right. And so she came here a couple days after my surgery and brought us lasagna, and it was really nice to see
Yeah.
it. And she said, "Thank you so much for letting me do that for you." And
Oh,
I may not ever buy her a meal back. Maybe I do, maybe I don't.
right.
Every time I see somebody maybe in a similar situation,
Yeah.
that's how I pay it forward. Hey, can I bring you some food tonight? Right?
Right.
And I have offered help to a lot of people, and some people say yes, some people say
Yeah.
no. And I've started saying, well, don't take my blessing away. I'm just trying to just,
Oh, I love that. You're
I'm just kind
taking
of selfish right
away.
now. I'm trying to do
Yeah.
something for you.
Oh, I
Uh,
love that. So she said, "Thank you for letting me help you." And
yeah.
that's so special. And I think for people that are a little more introverted, I consider myself pretty introverted, that maybe struggle to reach out and ask for help. You do not come across as introverted to me. But if there were things that maybe helped you reach out, helped you because you've done the business thing, you've had to market yourself. How do you get income? You tell people what you do. What are some things that you did to get your word out, to market, let people know what you're doing?
hmm Yeah. So funny you say I don't come across as an introvert. I call myself an extroverted introvert. Like
Okay.
I can have the stage presence, I
Yeah.
can do the whole thing. I can give a speech and I come home and I'll be so exhausted and I need a break.
Mm. Okay.
So I actually been very introverted. I have learned, I think, through being on TV a lot and doing all those
Hmm.
things, forced me
Yeah.
to do that. I was also in situations where I had no other choice than asking for help because I didn't want to raise my 2-year-old on the street. Uh,
Sure. Yeah.
uh,
Survival. So you
yes.
felt like you do it or you don't. Like you do it, you have to survive. And this is how you're getting the word out there because you were looking at it. I have to take care of a child. Like that is a huge responsibility. I also see that you are on social media platforms, just
Mhm.
saying, this is what I do. Who needs this? This is what I do. And that can feel so vulnerable sometimes because the algorithm tells you whether or not people like you, whether or not it's true. And for someone that comes from another country and you can hear it in your voice, this is English is not your first language. Like you can tell. Did you ever feel like you had a disadvantage or did you feel like here we are now? This is what we're doing?
Oh, that's a tough question. I don't know. I never thought about that.
You didn't think about it. So you
Yeah,
didn't
it's
even think
never,
it was a disadvantage.
you know, I knew that's not something I can change.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, well, this is
And
what we're doing.
I have to put myself out there.
Mhm.
I haven't experienced a lot of negative feedback for me being
Yeah.
a foreigner. It has
Yeah.
happened. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, you're German. Are you still Nazi? Are you related to Hitler? I mean, I've gotten those things. It doesn't bother me.
Oh,
I try to use
these
it
are
as,
all related, aren't you?
yeah, of course, blonde, blue-eyed, like I hit the market, I guess.
That's what you
Um,
did. That's
I try
hilarious.
to sometimes just use that opportunity to educate people on
Yeah.
things like that, right?
Right.
We're 70 some years past it or 80. I don't even know how long, but I had to do the math real quick.
We're still asking this. This is so funny.
Yeah, but for the most part, people have been very kind to me, and I love America. I love being here. I feel like I've gotten opportunities I would have never gotten in Germany, even
mm,
though Germany is not a bad place to live at all.
sure.
It's a
Okay.
place to live,
You
but
think there's a lot of differences as a female entrepreneur over here than over there? I've always been curious about that.
hard to compare. I was very introverted back then, and which was funny. I was always in sales. I've done sales since
Okay.
2008,
Okay.
which was not natural to me. Maybe we can talk about that because I feel people are so scared about the word sales. I need to sell.
Yeah.
For me, I rephrase that in my own head. I don't sell. I provide a service, and if you need help, I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
And I don't take no's personally.
Mm,
It may not be the right time for them. They may not have
yeah.
to it right now, but at least they gave me the opportunity to tell them what I'm doing. And sometimes people come back a year later, just see it as planting seeds. And sometimes they
Right.
don't come back at all. And that's okay too, right?
Mm,
I offer a service for people. And if you come to me and you need help, I tell you how I can help you. And if you want to take that,
yeah.
great. Don't, that's great too. I'll move on to the next person, right?
Yeah.
In sales, you get a lot of no's. I always said, especially when you do fundraising for a nonprofit, you don't even have a prop. You pretty much just ask for their money for nothing in return, besides maybe a good feeling of the heart. You would probably get 9 no's for 1 yes.
And just
Uh,
not taking it personally.
and we had that nonprofit in 2014. We were at a place, we had $16,000 left in the bank, which lasted us, probably covered expenses for maybe a month or 2.5 months.
Okay.
And we got selected to be in a voting contest for Home Depot, which the grand prize was $250,000.
Gosh.
And we signed up, of course we did,
Yeah.
and saw a competition, which was Winter Warrior Project, PFW, like all
Yeah.
these big guys.
So
And here's
cool.
us little people.
Mhm.
And we were like, well, how are we going to compete with Winter Warrior Project, who has millions of contacts, right?
Yeah.
But we decided to give it a shot anyways, and we got approached by a radio station here in Louisville, and they put together a whole marketing package for
Oh,
us with TV commercials, radio
yeah.
commercials, and all kinds of things.
So
I don't know
nice.
exactly what was included. And she gave us a price, $15,900, which was everything we had.
Yeah.
And I
That's
remember looking at my
rough.
husband. I said, you know what? Let's do it.
Oh,
And if we lose, we lose, and we're done. If we
yeah.
win, we have to go somewhere where we can make this bigger, because
Yeah.
we tried to purchase land to build this retreat center and stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
And for the next month, the voting lasted a month. We didn't really sleep while we took shift. We had a couple of volunteers that would help us out, because we would post on Facebook every hour. That was
Yeah.
back in the day, more people saw your post without you had put money
Mhm.
on it, stuff like
Yeah.
that. So every hour we would post 3 times a day. We'd send a newsletter. So we worked, excuse my
Yeah.
language, our asses off.
Yeah.
And we were in second place. And every night at 2 o'clock, this other company, I think they were in Washington State or something like that, they jump up like 10,000 votes ahead of us. And we're just like, how do they do that at 2 a.m.
What are they
morning?
doing?
Like, weird. So eventually, a week before the contest ended, we reached out to Home Depot and said, we're not sore losers, but would you all look into that? We feel like it's really odd that they get that many votes in the middle of,
Right.
and we almost got kicked out of the contest for saying that at first. And we were just like, okay, fine, we'll just take second place. That was still $100,000. It wasn't enough for us to do what we needed to do, but it's like, it's something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And 3 days before it ended, we got a phone call from Home Depot. Hey, so we did follow up on that lead, and we actually found inconsistencies, and we just found out they're purchasing votes from China.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so they had purchased enough votes every single time we got ahead. They would just go what we did plus 10,000,
That is
and
wild.
they got disqualified. At this point, we were 50,000 votes ahead of second place. And it was
Amazing.
like, we just won this. Like,
Yeah.
how? We
Yeah.
just won this, right?
Amazing.
And so I think that's one of the biggest things in my life, where even if you feel like defeated and you feel like you can't win it, you can't stop. You don't stop until it's
Yeah.
over, and you just keep going. And that is the money that got us to purchasing the land that's still out there and it's still doing things. And
Love that.
after that, we've gotten a lot of no's and no's and no's. We met this billionaire's daughter, and maybe that's an example how my accent actually helped us out. So her father was Austrian, and he had, I think he was either very sick at that moment or had already passed away. He developed some heart surgery thing where they didn't have to do open heart surgery anymore and stuff like that. She came down from Michigan, I think it was, and wanted to see the land that we had purchased and stuff like that,
Yeah.
because we needed about $500,000 to build our first building out there, which was
Mhm.
a conference center.
Yeah.
It seemed again like this one big task. It was just so big.
Yeah.
She had all kinds of questions, and she was very, I don't know the right word, maybe judgmental, but in a good
Mhm.
way. And somebody who wants to give a large amount of money,
Sure. They
well,
wanna know all about it.
everything
Yeah.
from how do we run business to,
Yep.
everything. And then she took us to the steakhouse downtown in the Gold House. I forgot what it's called.
Okay.
Very expensive, right?
I
And
there are so many downtown too,
yeah,
so yeah.
the bottom of the basement of the
Yeah.
Gold House. I couldn't remember the name
It's
because I
expensive
didn't
to
want
even
to go
go
there.
downtown.
And she bought, like, she just ordered everything off the menu. I think she had a $1,500 bill for the 4 of us. And then she made me eat oysters. I don't eat oysters, but you know what? In that moment, she's just like, "You gonna eat that?"
Okay, we're
Yeah,
eating
okay.
oysters now.
And then she asked me if I would dance with her. Now we're in a restaurant. We're not in a dance club. And you know what? Sure, yes, ma'am. You know,
Yes, yes, I will. Yes.
we did. We danced. She danced with me and my husband and our other employee that was there, one of our board
Yeah.
members, and she had the greatest time. And by the end of the
Oh,
day, she looked at me and she said, "It's because of you." And I was like, "Because of me, what?" She said, "I'm just so happy I was got to speak German with you today."
oh,
Pulled out her checkbook and she writes a check for $750,000.
oh my God. How
And so,
sweet.
because when you
Mm,
raising money and you get like $10 donations, they're very appreciated, right? It's
sure.
like when you
Yeah.
at $1 million price tag,
That's
it
everything. I
seems
mean,
so far away.
yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, that was that one moment we got that one yes. And I'm glad we never stopped asking, right? We
Right.
never stopped asking and we've gotten shut down over shut down over shut down. And I
Yep.
think it refers to small business as well, right? You
Yeah.
put your product out there, you feel like you're not getting anywhere. You gotta keep going. You
Keep
gotta go
trying.
networking. We did most of the things we are doing, and I still do it the same way with the nonprofit as well with the Zen
Yeah.
Zone. I love the network because that's how you build relationships. That's how you may find a person that's similar for massage therapy. It was for me in the beginning, a
Yep.
chiropractor I partnered up with, and we
Mhm.
both saw benefits by cross referring clients back and forth.
Yeah. I love
Uh,
that.
we didn't
Love
get
that.
any kickbacks. Like I actually may even reduce my personal income by sending somebody to do both of those things because
Yeah.
they'll faster, they get better faster.
Yeah.
So yes, per client, I may have gotten less money, but the clients had better results. And I
Mm.
built this relationship with somebody that was doing something similar and was open to partnering with
Yeah.
me. And she also saw the benefits of sending people to me, right? And so it
Yeah.
was a nice little circle of helping each other out.
Love that. We're lifting each other up and collaborating versus competing. And I think that's so special. And it sounds like you're so customer focused that you were okay knowing they're getting help and I'm making less money, but it's about them, not me. And I think that just really is heartwarming in a world today where you feel like no one's out to help you. It's just about money. So like keep up whatever you are doing in your mind and you're resting, meditating, praying. Like this is so inspiring. And I want to make sure people can find you if they need help. Where can they go? What are some resources that people can take away?
Yeah, my website is the zenzonewellness.com. Hopefully you can type it up in there
Yep,
somewhere.
we'll put it in the show notes. Zen, like Zen.
You can book online. We also have forms that you can fill out. There's a phone number. You can call us. I have a
Okay.
receptionist now. She's working 10 to 4 every day, so she'll pick up the
Oh,
phone for me because I can't do it all, obviously. That's another thing. As a business owner, learn to accept you can't do it all. If you want to grow to a certain place, you will have to accept help. Going
yeah.
back to that from other people, and maybe outsourcing some of those things so you can do what you need to do. And for me right now, it's the opportunity to network more because for a while I was in office so much I didn't have
Yeah.
time, a lot of my events. And so
Mm,
actually hiring people, yes, again, it costs me more money, but I provide somebody with a great opportunity to make
yeah.
money. I actually love her so much. She is in the Philippines. She's my best
Yeah.
girl.
I love that.
She had worked for only male employees her whole life. She's
Mm,
27 years old. She has a disabled brother, and as the oldest daughter in a Filipino family, she's actually responsible for taking care of her
oh,
parents, siblings, and she was just treated very badly by a lot of people.
yeah.
And then she started working for me. She cried. She said, "I've always wanted to have a female boss." And I can tell you every
Seriously.
day she sends me messages like, "I'm so thankful for being able to work for you." And was just able, she's 27. She doesn't have
Yeah.
children herself. She was just able to go on a little trip to Thailand over her birthday last week. And
So this has been a life-changing opportunity.
yes,
Yeah.
she's far away. I was looking for somebody in America, and I have to admit, I couldn't afford people here
It's
for
very
what I
expensive.
needed.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I gave this girl in the Philippines an
Yep.
opportunity. Her
And
English is
and it's
perfect. You never
working.
know. Yeah, it works really
Yeah.
great.
Love
Um,
that.
but I feel better if I can help other people.
Yeah.
I feel like I did something good, right? Because I can make all the money in the world. I won't take it with me once I'm gone. But if I can leave a footprint in this world and just for what I have, it's a very small circle that I have. But if I can just do things right and treat people right, if I can just change one or two lives right, then it was all worth it. And I go back,
Mm.
I think what really made me like that was my friend Justin Fitch. He was one of the veterans who helped us fundraise back in the day.
Okay.
When we met him, he was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer.
Oh,
He was given 6 months to live. And his last mission was he wanted to help us build this retreat center.
Mm.
He ended up raising 1.3 million, I think, something like that. I don't know, right around $1 million over the
Yeah.
past 2 years of his life. Now, they had given him 6 months to live. He ended up living for 2 years. And he had such a big mission in our mission where it actually extended his life. It gave him a purpose to
Mm.
he was very sick. I mean,
Yeah.
once time I saw him 4 months before he passed. And I remember shortly before he died, I spoke to him about a week before he passed. And he said, Marie promised me one thing. He said, don't let this die. And if we just save one veteran's life, just one, all that is
It was
worth it.
worth it. Oh,
And so when he passed, I was devastated. I still am. It happened in
yeah.
2015, what, 10 years? It'll be 10 years in October. But I
Yeah.
miss him every day. He was such a good person, and I feel like he made me a better person by
Mm.
being so, he could have spent the last 2 years of his life just living his life,
Yeah.
but he made it a
Yeah.
purpose to help others. And I think that has really shaped me into a lot of things. And I have a lot more time, hopefully, than he had. And, I'm no
Yeah.
longer involved in the nonprofit, but that's why I've been doing anything I could to make sure they sustain themselves. And long
Yeah.
story short, my ex-husband actually passed away in 22 from
Mm.
COVID. So neither me nor him obviously are involved, but there's a good group of people that still keep it going and
Okay.
have always offered them if there's anything you need, any advice, anything,
Yeah.
just call me because that's the one
Oh,
thing I can't let happen. I cannot let this thing die. So
right. Right. So you're involved, however you can serve and help it. It is still running. And what is it called?
active heroes.
Active Heroes. And I love that. As a family member, I have a sibling who was in the military and my older brother. And so I love the work that you guys are doing. It's so, so needed. It's such a dark side of what people experience with family members, but also personally when they come back and have to be a normal person after the things that they've seen. And that's a really tough thing. And I love that you're providing resources for those people so they don't feel thrown out into the world as they are. I've seen they're not really helped by the government. So I hope that you guys continue to do that good work because that really is something special to me as well. And I know everyone that, could utilize those services, it would mean the world to them. So
Yeah.
the Zen Zone Wellness, we've got, your active heroes. I was so happy that you decided to take this call today. We had originally scheduled to be in person. And when I saw you were having surgery, I said, Marie, you might have to go up some stairs to the studio. And you're like, no, 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 it's going to be fine. So I am so grateful that nothing deterred you from chatting with me today. We will put all the links in the show notes for anyone to reach out, to chat with you, to maybe just see how they can help you or you can help them. And I hope that you continue to look at the world the way you have been because it's so inspiring. So thank you for being on here today.
Thank you so much. One last thing, actually, if you're a veteran, I still do massage therapy for veterans, which is really funny, full circle. I
Yep.
partnered with the VA a while back, and if you are a veteran and you go to the VA and you have a PCP, you can request massage therapy
Mm.
um, through the VA, and you have to go to the VA first. There's nothing we can do on our end at first, but they will send you over to us, or
Cool.
there's one or two other practitioners in this area, and the VA will pay 100% everything for your massage therapy. So if you
Oh,
have any back pain, which most of y'all have,
yeah.
neck pain, or whatever other injuries you may have, call us
Yeah.
if you need help or call your PCP.
Thank you so much, Marie. And we will be staying in touch because I love what you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Ashley, for the opportunity.
If I could do it all over again, there'd be no wish I would, should have been. Spend more time with my family and friends. If I could do it all